everyone, it's Meg, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favourite poetry writing workshops. Over lockdown I have had quite a lot of time to work on my writing and discover who I am as a writer. And because of lockdown, obviously a lot of things have gone digital, including a lot of writing workshops, and I thought that I would share with you guys some of my favourite writing workshops that I have done over lockdown. Basically all of these are free apart from 2 workshops on here because they are from a subscription from Skillshare, but apart from that the rest of them are free, and I thought I would share with them in case you guys are looking to get into writing poetry and don't know where to start, or you would like some free workshops to kind of get a feel before maybe you eventually venture into workshops where you pay a bit of money, or you do in-person ones once it is obviously safe to do so. So yeah, I thought I would share them with you guys, and even if you aren't a poetry person, maybe you can give some of these workshops a go, like if you write fiction or some other form of writing. I feel like it's very good to kind of expand your horizons and just give different types of writing a go. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it useful. I have 4 workshops to share with you guys today, so without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first workshop I have to share with you guys is actually a series of workshops, and they have been run by First Story, who I only discovered during lockdown, and they are an organisation and they have in-house poets, and basically these in-house poets have run some workshops on YouTube, and I haven't done all of them, I must admit. I've done 3 of them so far. There's maybe about 6 altogether, but I definitely intend to finish doing them because I've really enjoyed doing them. So the workshops I've done from First Story so far are from Cecilia Knapp, Celeb Parkin, I'm really sorry if I said his first name wrong, I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly, and Dean Atta. And I definitely enjoyed all of these. All of these workshops are about an hour long, roughly, give or take a little bit of time, and they are absolutely great. They all cover different topics, and such as Celeb's one covers like objects, and Cecilia's one covers like yourself, like your identity, and Dean Atta's one just covers water. I think there's one about place, there's one about writing haikus, I think, or sonnets, one or the other, and then there's one more. And I love how they have a different subjects for each thing, because doing workshops is something that I really struggled with before lockdown. Workshops were something that I almost shied away from because I was so worried about not writing anything good, for writing something that is absolute nonsense, and I would feel really worried because that's also why I didn't do in-person workshops for the longest time. I still haven't done one yet, I am working up to that, because I know obviously you share your work, and I was always so worried about people judging me and getting so frustrated because I'm such a perfectionist. But obviously the good thing about doing workshops online generally, or like just simple video ones, is the fact that obviously you can do it in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to share the poems that you create from the workshop if you don't want to, but you can if you like, and that's a great comfort. And doing all these workshops has definitely helped me become less of a perfectionist, and for the factor of just learning to just write whatever is the first thing that comes to mind, because that's something I really struggle with as well. I overthink things a lot. So these workshops have been great, and like I said, they all cover different topics, which means that you also write something that's outside of your comfort zone. I have certain themes that I write about. Generally it's like mental health and kind of nature and water. Those are the things, and like certain memories, those are certain things that I personally write about. But these workshops have gotten me to write outside of my comfort zone a bit more. Like all of the workshops that I have on here have got me to write about subjects that I do not generally write about, especially Celeb's one with the objects and stuff. That's something definitely out of my comfort zone, which I found really interesting. And generally with most of these workshops, the ones that I've done so far, is you will do a free write, which is generally like stream of consciousness writing basically, and you will write for say like 2 minutes, sometimes up to 10 minutes, and you just have an idea and you roll with it. And sometimes they will intersect with words or give you a prompt to start off with, and you basically write whatever comes to mind off that prompt. And I love free writing. It's something that I'm definitely trying to put into my own writing routine a lot more now, like just to start off with, to kind of get the ball rolling, and that is something I've definitely found useful. And then you will generally go into a prompt, like they will do different exercises, so it's that sort of thing, kind of getting you to think outside of the box. And often with poetry you start with one idea, and then by the time you finish the poem you end up somewhere completely different. And that's what I really loved about these first story workshops. And obviously the best part is that they are free. I do actually have a full playlist of all of these workshops on my channel, so I will leave it in the description if you want to go and check it out. I will leave a link to First Story as well if you can go and check them out. I'm hoping that they will do more free workshops in the future because I've really enjoyed them, and I really need to get back on the bandwagon of doing workshops because I've not done them in a while, so I will definitely do the rest of them in a while. But I really enjoyed these. I think they are perfect for beginners. If you are a beginner when it comes to writing poetry, I 100% recommend, because I think they are great, and obviously gets to, like I said, write out of your comfort zone and take you to new places in your writing you never thought you would have thought. Next up, I have some workshops that were done by Rupi Kaur, and Rupi over lockdown did some Instagram live poetry workshops, and I have known about Rupi for quite some time. I guess a lot of people have, but I feel like doing these workshops made me appreciate her on another level, because I like her work. I'm not crazy about it, it's just not my personal style to a certain extent, but doing these workshops and kind of seeing her process and these exercises that we did made me appreciate her a whole lot more as a writer and her writing in general. So I really enjoyed these, and there's about 3 or 4 of these workshops all together. I will leave Rupi's Instagram in the description if you want to go and check it out. I think she has an Instagram highlight with all of these workshops on, and these workshops again were about an hour, because that is about the amount of time that obviously Instagram Live lets you do a video for. And we did around 3 exercises, and they varied differently. They were very creative. Like, one of the ones is an exercise where we had to draw a house, like a picture of a house as we would imagine it ourselves to be, like draw ourselves as a house basically. How you would, if you were to have a house that reflected you as a person, how would you draw it? So we did that, and then you had to write about the house, like as if you're trying to sell it to somebody, describe it, how it looks, and like the feeling and kind of the atmosphere of it. And then like there's ones about journeys, and often during Rupi's exercises in her workshops, we would write for say like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, up to 20 minutes, and she would give you a prompt to start off with, and then she'd have 4 or 5 words. So every 2 minutes she would intersect with a word, and you'd have to switch up and start writing with that word, like use that word as the next part of your poem, which was very interesting. And she got you to write things such as letters as well, like letters to certain people in your lives. There were often themes around her workshops as well, which I really enjoyed. Like, I think she got us to write sonnets at some point as well, and list poems as well. Like, we did a list of realizations and about the making of me, so kind of about yourself and kind of about the mind, the body, and like the soul, and like your personal being as well. And it just made me appreciate Rupi's work, like I said, a lot more. I found it so interesting. I definitely enjoy some of the workshops more than others. It also depends on my mindset, just generally when I am doing workshops. Sometimes my mindset is like a bit off, and I'm not always on it like I usually am, but Rupi's were great. And she also got people to share their works, like she'd go on Instagram Live with them at the end. I think you can still watch that part of her workshops as well, but I think they are so wonderful. Her work workshops really get you to reflect on yourself and like your inner self as well, and look at you as a person in different lights, in different ways that you never thought you would before. And again, they are free, which is amazing, and they are on her Instagram, so I highly recommend you go and check them out. They are absolutely wonderful, and I think you will also get a lot out of them. And the last two workshops I want to talk about are ones that are on Skillshare, and I am not sponsored by Skillshare at all, even though I wouldn't be mad if I was. But there are quite a few workshops on Skillshare. I haven't got to all of them yet. I'm slowly making my way through, but these are two that I've done so far and enjoyed, or the end product I've really enjoyed out of these. So my favourite of the two is by Alison Malice, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, which is called Instagram Poetry Creates Personal Visual Vignettes for Self-Expression. And the whole point of this workshop is to get a vignette by the end of it, and I only discovered what a vignette was, or like the links between it, through this workshop. And a vignette is basically where you take a line of a poem and you make it aesthetic, basically. Like you might write it on a piece of paper and cut it out and hold it against the sky, or put it with a bunch of flowers, or like, you will know what I mean, like those little snippets of poems that you see on Instagram. That is basically what this workshop was trying to achieve. And I was really interested in seeing how this was going to go, because I'm a little bit iffy when it comes to like Instagram poetry, but this was really interesting and I loved the process that we went through. But apart from the exercises, which I actually found really interesting and quite a useful exercise actually if you're feeling a little bit stuck when it comes to what you want to write next, she goes through poetic devices such as like similes and metaphors and personification. I do know what they are, but for the fact that I haven't studied English since I was in school, which was 8 years ago, I am a little bit rusty on like reminding myself what verbs and metaphors and personifications are, because obviously I haven't studied it in ages. So it was really helpful actually, because I ended up writing it down in here as well, just as a little reminder so I know. And I just thought it was really good. It goes into so much more depth than I thought it would, and I really love the end product that I got out of it. And if you are into kind of doing that like Instagram / like learning to do those little vignettes for Instagram as well, I think this will be a really fun tutorial if you have Skillshare, or I know they do 3-month subscription, which is what I did. But I really enjoyed it. I think it brought another light again to Instagram poetry, which is something, like I said before, I have mixed opinions on, just personally at any rate. So I really enjoyed this, and again, if you have Skillshare or you are on a free trial, I definitely recommend checking it out. It is definitely a workshop that took me by surprise, and I'm really glad that I decided to do it. And the last workshop that I had to share with you is obviously also on Skillshare, and that is by Madison White, which is How to Write a Poem, 3 Steps to Creating Your First Draft. I must admit, when I was doing this workshop, I was slightly confused. The process and like the exercises just for some reason confused me. It might just be me personally, but I really loved the end product of the poem that I got from this workshop, which is why I'm putting this workshop on here, because even though the process took me a little while to work out like how to do it and how to not exactly do it correctly, but all that sort of thing, I did really enjoy the work that I got out of it, so which is why obviously, like I said, I'm sharing it in this video. So like the title of the workshop suggests, it goes through a couple of exercises for helping you to create the first draft of a poem. I really loved the poem that I got out of this, and it didn't necessarily mean anything, this poem that I wrote, but I just loved the direction that it went in. I feel like it's a poem that's very much open to interpretation. So I really enjoyed it, and for that reason that is why I'm putting this workshop on here, and I definitely recommend going and checking it out. Like the whole process of doing this poem was very different to quite a few of the other workshops. Like it's things like cutting pieces of paper out and, like I said, mixing them about and making new like sentences and all that sort of thing. And I just thought it was really interesting. So that is another workshop that I recommend you check out if you have Skillshare. So those are some of the writing workshops that I have really been enjoying recently. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's something a little different, but I thought it'd be fun just in case, like I said, any of you are wanting to get into writing poetry or just looking for some general writing workshops. You can go and check these out, and like I said, the majority of them are free, so I will leave the links to where you can find them in the description down below if you want to go and check them out and go and support the amazing poets who obviously did these videos and created these exercises. They were so useful to me, and I have really discovered a lot about my writing during lockdown and being able to do all these workshops. So I hope you guys enjoyed these workshops if you choose to do them as well, and hopefully you will get just as much out of them as I did. If you like this video, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more bookish videos from me, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and little bell icon so you'll be noted every time I post a new video. As always, I will leave the links to my social media along with the links to my Goodreads in the description down below for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!